Hello, everybody. I'm here today with the provincial candidates for Glengarry Prescott Russell. Today, I'm here with one of the candidates, Thaila Riden. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you, Jade.
Thank you. Yeah. So the first questions I have for today's interview is, what is your main goal when it comes to Glengarry Prescott Russell?
I want to see us be heard, to thrive, to realize, and to really just realize our potential. That's basically. Let's keep those three.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
And how do you plan to obtain the community support?
I'm thinking, and I'm hoping as well, that by showing, first off, that we have a platform, we have a plan with solutions we thought about, with costing to show how we're going to pay for it, so that we're serious. A lot of preconceptions with Greens is that very pie in the sky, and of course we always try to think outside the box and think long term and all these things, but we have to be very grounded in the fact that whatever solutions they would have to work. And it's a lot easier for me to kind of present something if there is some thought put behind it. So that's why I'm kind of hopeful that people will check it out. And of course, I'm growing up in this region, looking to find everyone's hurting right now, and it's people can't afford housing. Houses are, priced out of, a lot of people's hands, like especially younger people. Groceries. So how do we kind of bring these real pressing issues, and also kind of put in a message that, of course, we kind of have to think about longer term things like environmental health and stuff like that. But it's all holistic. Everything's connected, and it is a big kind of complex, many parts kind of picture. So trying to break it down and make it as real as possible.
Yeah. And how do you plan to involve the community in the decision-making process?
Well, certainly, actually from very initially, even with our platform, even getting how we run elections, first off, we want to definitely bring things like in municipality, we want to bring, say, ranked ballots, for example, one more, proportional representation in our electoral system. How do we reform our elections to be more democratic? Right now it's first past post. That's number one, is how to basically allow people's voice just in the polls and just from the get-go in the voting system. And by the way, if we can vote electronically in municipal elections, maybe we should start looking at how we can do that in provincial, especially if elections are called in the winter and people, like, we're seeing lower and lower voter turnouts, and just I think a lot of people are just checking out because it's like, first off, if it's not easy to get to. So number one, making it easy to participate. Any town halls, whatnot, making it easy for electronically, whatever, or being accessible. Like, so for example, like, my phone dying during this campaign period, as a candidate, or as an MPP, making sure that the office would be available. In fact, any kind of meeting, I would almost, for true participation, I would just stream it full time and be like full disclosure, everything, our budget, we would just disclose everything, full transparency. I think people would be a lot more at ease saying, okay, well, where are our dollars going if we just, and I think more governments should take that note. I think it was Sydney, there was a government, Sydney, Australia, where they basically open sourced their a lot of their information, and citizens were able to take that and maybe make safety apps because they could see traffic accident patterns, things like that. So why not, instead of hiding so much behind freedom of information requests where people are kind of left in the dark, let's be more transparent with how we do things. And then that way people can give more input as well in what we're doing.
And how do you plan to handle critics?
I mean, it's always, an exercise in handling it constructively, and sometimes criticism isn't delivered constructively, and especially in these days, even just conversations are more charged, and let's just polarize, I guess, to an extent. There's this unfortunate trend that things are, and it kind of makes sense in a sense. People are, if you're kind of having a tough go of it, there's a certain venting process. So how to listen and not take everything personally, and getting into the arena of politics, you kind of have to kind of do that. We have, okay, it's not you, just, you're, but really be there, kind of have that sympathy, to go and, okay, here's the concern, and just kind of removing yourself personally from that. It's a process, it's a lot of work, but I think that would be the way to do it. And just, again, allowing people to voice their criticisms and have a voice, number one.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And what's a problem in the local community that you wish to address?
One thing that I would, so we're going to hear a lot about healthcare, which definitely is probably going to be one of the biggest things from this election, at least from everyone else except maybe Doug Ford right now. But the state of our healthcare system, of course, affordability. I would push for things even on. There's for the Greens, one of our aspects is walkable, safer communities. My hometown of Anklick Hill, simple things like foundational or structural things like my high school that I went to. There's a Tim Hortons down the road, and I remember as when I was younger, we would go on Highway 34 into the suburbs to my friend's house for lunch. Now kids are going down across the 34, there's no sidewalk, there's no protection on these things. It's just how to start framing is like, where do we allocate some of the funds? If there's enough funds for a $2 billion spa, maybe reallocating to just being able to, setting up convenience stores and whatnot near housing, but also if you're going to get there, there was unfortunately a couple of years ago, a mother in Hawkesbury died going to another Tim's on the 34 up in Hawkesbury. So it's like, how do we get basic stuff? So again, this election, and for the Greens, we've always talked foundationally, like we need resiliency in our economy. We need locally sourcing our economy. But really, how do we build our communities for everyone? So those would be kind of where I'd come from. It'd definitely be top down, a lot to cover. But yeah, I think those would be issues. Another one would be for farmers. So case in point, we just had these 2 really big snowstorms, and we're driving around, snow drifts everywhere. And one of the things that in the Green Party platform we would incentivize is if farmers, say, for example, have hedgerows along the edge of their fields, along roadways, that would cut down on the wind sweeping the snow drifts all over the place. You would have to plow it less as a result, which would be good. You'd also get less wind erosion. And also, on an environmental front, you'd also create corridors for the animals and pollinators and whatnot to kind of travel. So it's kind of one solution helps out many other problems. So trying to, I guess, how to make your buck go the furthest is, one of the things we try to do.
Yeah. Well, those are all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.